By the winter of 1945, the great German war machine was no longer a juggernaut. It was a wounded beast, crawling on broken treads. Once they had rewritten warfare, Blitzkrieg tore across continents. Tigers ruled the roads, the Luftwaffe owned the sky, and every piece of kit had that cold, terrifying precision the world had come to fear. But now, the factories were in ruins. Steel was scarce, fuel even scarcer. The elite panzer divisions were shadows, their machines burning on roads that led only backward. Boys were handed rifles their fathers once carried, and men too old to march were issued armbands and orders to stand. Gone was the empire of design and dominance. Now they jury-rigged. Whatever could shoot would. Guns on carts, cannons on logs. Every vehicle, every weapon, every plan, improvised, desperate, patched with tape and prayer. But in the middle of this crumbling chaos, Germany's engineer delivered one last monster. A weapon not of hope, but of defiance. The PaK 43/3 L71. An 88mm beast, longer, deadlier, more precise than anything the Allies had faced before. Originally mounted on tank destroyers, now bolted to stripped-down trailers sandbagged into crossroads and fields. It was heavy, it was awkward, but it also could tear through a Sherman at 2 kilometers and leave the wreck smoking. It wasn't just a gun, it was a roar. A last scream from a dying war machine. Because the Reich had no more time, no more steel, no more men. But for a few fleeting months, they still had firepower. And with the PaK 43/3, they swore they'd drag their enemies into the grave with them. But history had already turned the page. And Germany's last breath was not enough. All right, welcome back to part 3 of our Dragon 1/35 scale PaK 43/3 L71 mit Behelfslafette build that we have going on here at Jet Scale Models. Just a quick recap of where we left off. We were working off the second page of the instructions, getting into step 7. Starting on the fenders and those little hooks that lock into the outriggers during transport. They're meant to pivot forward and back. I've included a few photos I took at the museum in Munster, Germany, so you can see how those look in real life. Now, while putting these together, I ran into a bit of a fit issue. The first one was a bit of a challenge. Maybe if I'd had my 6x eyeglasses on, it would have worked better. It seems to me that the better you can see what you're working on, the better the results.
Oh, let's see.
The second one went way easier. It might have been because I had my stronger glasses on this time and could actually see what I was doing. Go figure. Make sure you're paying attention to how these hooks are supposed to face. It's easy to put them on the wrong way. Ask me how I know. But just test fit them first. If it doesn't look right, don't glue it yet. I also discovered I lost one of the E6 parts since putting this kit aside last year, so I ended up scratch building a replacement out of plastic card, and honestly, it came out pretty nice. You'll see how that turned out in a sec. So here we're adding one of these structural pieces to the front. And we can slap it on now. All right. All right, so I got everything in there. It's a bit messy, and it doesn't seem to, I don't know, maybe I did something wrong. But I've got this toothpick part in there just so that I can ensure everything's going to dry properly, because this is the part that will end up holding the gun here. And I think what goes on is that, yeah, so that'll go in there where the toothpick is, like that. All right, so I'm going to let this dry for now. Straighten that out.
Next, we're gluing the axle.
All right, so now what I can do is put this on. Now you'll see these things, which I really don't know what they are. They don't seem to attach to anything. They're just sort of sticking up in space. That will just go there like that.
There's a pretty prominent seam line on it, but if you look at the drawings, it's actually meant to be there. So don't sand it off. Just line everything up and drop it in with a bit of cement. Make sure the E4 brake drums are facing the right way as well.
All right, so you see everything lining up properly. That goes in there like that. And then the wheels will go on there. I'm not going to attach the wheels yet though, because I don't want to paint them separately. Okay, so, and we also have another couple of parts here, F36 and F39. Kind of jumping ahead here, but I actually painted this yellow, but I'm going to strip it, and I'm going to make it a oxide red type of primer. All right, well, I seem to have misplaced the other one of these, so I'm going to have to make one. Let's see, how can I do this? So I've got this glue that's just a temporary glue, and I use it often for wheels and such. But I'm going to tack this part on here just so I can trace around it. It's basically a latex. turn this little tab off. Put this one on, because then I can line the other one up on it. That one went on a lot easier than the other one. Okay, so I'll glue that on, and then I'll come back once it's set, and I'll tidy up the sculpture. All right. Well, I had that one not right too. You can see here, there's some ribbing, and that goes to the outside. And I had that, I don't know if it's like something to do with the pneumatic system or whatever, but it's got to go on the inside, not the outside. But that's easily remedied, thankfully. Yeah, the inside is smooth. All right, so those two things are glued together. I gotta wait till everything dries. Okay, this is a floor stripper for future and stuff like that. So it works wonders for getting paint off, and it doesn't affect the plastic in any way. So I'm going to strip that back. Like I said, I want to do a red primer on this. All right, let's take care of these strengthening supports. All right, so F3. This is, what is this one? This would be F4. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at where we're at here. Okay, so this one we finished up yesterday. Unfortunately, it looks like the glue got in there. Oh well. There we go. All right. I thought I had gotten enough of that glue off of there that it wouldn't stick, so that's good. Right on. All right, so we've got that one done, and that was yeah, like all this work has been done in step 7. So now I have to duplicate it on the other one. And as you remember, I had a few issues that I needed to rectify. Namely, I had to scratch build another one of those hook parts. All right, so now that this is dried overnight, it's stiff. All right. So this goes to the front. Yeah, so that goes like that. Okay, I think that goes. This one is going a lot better than the first. Shoes, that's a bit too stiff. Let's see. All right. That's got to go. Yeah, that's got to come like that. Yeah, we got that in the wrong orientation, or do we? Yeah, we do, because this has got to go to the front. All right. All right, so the next thing we glue on is this. We gotta clean it up.
That's weird. Does it go this way? Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know. I keep putting everything backwards. Oy vey. All right, I built this system on the other Flak 88 that I built from Dragon, and this chain is supposed to somehow fit in here, but it doesn't. What I ended up doing is cutting this part flat, drilling a hole, and then sticking a pin through here into the hole, because this system is really lame. I don't know what they were thinking, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, you see, like, How is it doesn't make sense? So let's do that, shall we? Now. Okay, so let's take a look at this chain. I would say it's most likely out of scale, but we'll just use it. And I'm supposed to cut, so 14 millimeters. Okay, let's see if I can make this so 14. So take that. You know what? Just basically. Okay, let's try again here. I learned from building a previous Dragon 88mm flak gun that this way that Dragon designed how to hook up this chain here was really goofy and awkward. So what I ended up doing is I just cut that knob off, and then I drilled a hole, and then what I'll do is I'll stick a pin in where the chain will be attached to that part. It's so much easier than the way Dragon would have us do it. So that's what I did. Okay, so let's take this, and that goes in there. Does that go like that? I guess so. So tight. I don't think I'm going to glue that yet. Yeah, I'm going to hold off. I'll clean up that seam. I'll put the photo etch on. So you got to put photo etch here, got to put photo etch there and here. Okay, I didn't notice, but there's another little part that goes on this first. This has got to go on that little pin there. Yeah, so that goes like that.
better. All right, guys, today I am going to redo the red oxide primer before I go and do some weathering to this. So I'm not sure exactly how much of this would be red oxide. I'm thinking this part down here. I'm thinking I'm going to make the barrel gray, like how they have those replacement barrels. So I'm going to have to paint this too. Now, one of the things I have yet to do is talk about what I'm going to use. So I bought this the other day, Vallejo Model Color, Cavalry Brown. And I also have this stuff that I bought because I used to do airbrush artwork. And these are from Creatix Colors. And I've recently learned that a lot of people who build car models actually use this line of paints. These are all the reducers. So apparently this can be mixed with these reducers. So maybe I'll... So this apparently can be mixed with these reducers. So we'll try that out. Yeah, I also have this to paint out with that red primer. So maybe I should finish putting all this together first, eh? Gotta paint these wheels out. And there's a few other little things that I gotta glue on to the base. So let's take a look at that. I've got this.
So apparently,
That glues on here somewhere, I guess. Let's see. I'm gonna have to look at the instructions. So these are for, these go here. Now, one is for when one is for transporting, and one is when it is operating. And I think I'm going to do mine, I don't know. I think it doesn't really say which one is which, though, unfortunately. I'm going to use E9. Oh. All right, so we've got this part to glue on for the sight. Some people really worry about scraping paint off of things, but I think that comes from like the early days of model building, like the 60s and the 70s. You don't, I mean, look, that's clear plastic and it was removed with this glue. And it's not like this stuff gets under pressure or stress. And it still melts really nice. All right. There's also the gun sight over here, which I think I'll leave off and paint separate. All right, now going through all of the steps here, what do I have left to do? All right, so I think we're on step 10. And we worked on these last time, and I've got to clean it up. I need to clean all that up. But that's going to be done close to my eyeballs, so I won't be able to actually film that. But basically it'll go like this. And then also here and there's a couple of photo etch parts that go on there. Anyways, I'll come back. And that's where we're going to leave it for today. And that's where we're going to leave it for now. This episode's gotten long. Longer than the PaK 43 barrel. And we still haven't even painted the damn thing. We took a good look at the desperation in those final days of the war and how the Germans, running on fumes and scrap metal, still managed to crank out a monster like the PaK 43/3L/71. Next time we'll finish up any construction that needs to be done and just maybe start getting some primer down. So yeah, we'll call it there. Gotta give my voice a rest before it sounds like a tiger tank trying to cold start in January. In the meantime, and in between time, that's another edition of Jet Scale Models. Y'all come back now, you hear? I'm not liking that. I'm just gonna cut that thing off.